How you doing? This is Kurt, and I am going to share with you a formal apology. Folks, how you doing? Kurt Von Annen with Mañana No Mas. I realize my lives have been a little more sporadic since the move, but you'll also notice my space is coming together pretty good in the new office. So super happy to be able to reach out to you from our new home here in Kansas. I every now and then I just sit down and I just, I try to think about, look, where were we? Where are we? Where are we going? The normal things that an entrepreneur does in their head, right? Like, how's my goal setting? How are my KPIs? How are my things? And I'm thinking of that. And I'm thinking about, where were we 3 years ago, pandemic time, dealing with mandatory statements and things like that, right? So where were we pandemic time? Where were we directly after the pandemic? And what was that struggle like, as the economy was starting to go into this huge inflationary time? And here we are in Southern California, one of the most expensive zip codes in the world. And we're going, this self-employment thing isn't growing at the rate of the expense of being here. And so when we escaped from California and we got to Kansas, it was instant relief. And I was thinking about that, that chain of events. Okay. Now, during that time, what else did we see? And this is where my formal apology is going to come from. And I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this as some kind of media grab, or doing this as some kind of this is from the heart. I feel responsible for things. So, I get a lot of exposure online. I'm with Lifter LMS on a lot of their lives. I'm on WP Tonic with a lot of their podcasts. The Membership Machine Show falls into that category. And a couple of times, Page Builders gets discussed. Now, when we're talking about Page Builders, we're talking about the WordPress side of my life, not the leadership consulting or the publishing or those, but we're talking about WordPress. And I hate to say the word development, but WordPress development. So if we're talking about WordPress that runs 44% of the internet, and I'm on these podcasts and someone starts talking about Page Builders and they start saying, well, I like Elementor and I like Beaver Builder and I like Divi, and someone says Bricks, and people start asking for opinions. There were times where I said I just plain and simple didn't like Bricks. And, Bricks is kind of the new favorite child on the block. Okay. So, and there's a lot of reasons why people would say that. And Kevin Geary, who is, dare I say, famous in the WordPress space, Kevin Geary was really proactive in talking about Bricks and the benefit of Bricks. And he has this, basically web design 101 class that he has on YouTube. It's free. It's fantastic. And I wasn't raised in the WordPress space like Kevin Geary. I don't have a developer's foundation in WordPress. I don't have a coding foundation in WordPress. I don't have a CSS foundation in WordPress. I am a self-educated point and shoot kind of dude. Like, so when tools would come out or Page Builders would come out, or different plugins would be released with certain features, I typically am an early adopter of these types of things. I get in, I grab them, I check them out. Does this work? How's this use case feel? Is this a good tool to solve a problem that my clients might have? And then, is it maintained? Is it stable? Is it all those things? And I do some testing with things. And if I like it, I bring it in as part of the tool set in the Mañana No Mas, bank of tools. And of course, if it doesn't work, I try to quietly dismiss it. I try not to say things negative about any product that I really run into in the space. Now, Bricks was different. When I first downloaded and put Bricks into a website, and I went to make my first page, and this is probably half a year ago, it didn't work. I'm sorry, folks, but I'm just going to tell you the way it was. It didn't work. It was like 6 months ago. And on my screen, everything, like when I said, okay, I want to add a row with 3 blocks in it, I could make the row with the 3 blocks show up. And then when I wanted to put images into each of those 3 blocks, I had this weird, like almost like a yellow highlighter on my screen, and it was bouncing from block to block. And it was like, well, if I release the mouse, where's the image going to end up? Which block is it going to end up in? And I tried adjusting screen resolution. I tried doing it, and I thought, well, maybe something's wrong with my copy. Maybe I got a corrupted copy. So I uninstalled it. I reinstalled it. I had the same problem. I tried to build a page, and it didn't. It just plain and simple. It was confusing. The user interface didn't make a lot of sense to me, and I took it out. I said, I'm just going to go back to SkyPilot with Lifter LMS and put this website back where I think it needs to be. And, as an agency owner, that's the call you make sometimes. Sometimes you're like, man, I got to check out this new tool. And you start going down this negative road, and you go, okay, I don't have the time for this, because every amount of time that you spend on bringing a new tool into your quiver is time away from being productive with existing tools. And so I was like, I'm not ready for this kind of change yet. Let's move back to what we know. Let's get productive and get some things done. And so I want to fast forward probably 3 months past that. 3 months past that, I had the idea, because we were focusing as an agency, we focus on taking enterprise level SCORM websites, very expensive learning websites. And we convert those into a WordPress environment that saves companies 75-80% of their e-learning expense, at least on the IT side. And so knowing that is, one of our specialty verticals, I said, you know what, let's have a website dedicated to just that. Just kind of a little like informative landing page kind of thing, like a very purpose-built. Instead of putting it on Mañana No Mas, let's have a purpose-built, let's pick a name that makes sense. And so because we're talking about SCORM in WordPress, I picked the name SCORMpress, and it was available. So I said, oh, like all entrepreneurs with URLs, I said, I got to reserve that right away. And I reserved SCORMpress, and I made the website in SCORMpress, and I did it with bricks. Now, I see we've got a couple of people coming in live. So if you're coming in late to this is me basically just saying, this is my experience with using bricks. And I wanted to explain why on some podcasts, if you watch those with Lifter or with WP Tonic, you may have heard me say, I don't like bricks. It doesn't work. I can't get it to work. I don't like it. And this is my formal apology for that, because here's the use case situation. So I built kind of a one-page little deal with bricks called SCORMpress. So if you go to scormpress.com, you'll see the results of that. And it was a simple web page, just simple. Hero image, a couple of separators, and then little sections, media, text, media, text. Just boom, boom, simple layout. Here's a couple of promotional videos about how we can save companies a ton of money on converting their expensive SCORM website to a WordPress environment, blah, 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 right? And it's to drive people. So what's the purpose of scormpress.com? Well, it drives people towards the course that is on Mañana No Mas, that is how to put SCORM in WordPress. So we have a course available for $99 where people can sign up and learn how to put SCORM in WordPress and make it work. Now, what's the purpose of that? If I have an agency that does this for companies, why do I have a do-it-yourself course? I want decision makers in corporations to be able to see it and go, that makes sense. It becomes my proof of concept. And because it's $99, it vets serious shoppers out of the way, right? If it was free, I'd get a lot of questions and a lot of support questions and things like that. But I made it $99. So this way, people that are interested in doing this, they go to the course, they see it, they pay the $99. So they're vetted, right? They're filtered, they're serious. They look at half the course, 3/4 of the course. It's typically what we've seen so far, half to 3/4 of the course. They book a session with us because they go, we already know that you can do this. So since we know that you can do this, how much is it going to cost to just have you do it for us? And that is, kind of the modus operandi for how I've been able to grow in that vertical, right? Send the net, vet the net, and then qualify the net, right? And once we qualify the net, we can sell to the net. So that's how that works. And that was built in bricks. Now I'm going to do a screen share for you, and I want to show you what I did most recently with bricks. And I think that this is kind of cool. You may remember I spent about an hour live showing folks, I said, let's see what we know what they say, but what do they do? Right? We know what they say, but what do we do? And this was in the WordPress space. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go into my branding feature here, and I'm going to take this overlay off so you can actually see the screen share. And I'm going to make this bigger for you. Okay. So what we did was we went into Kevin Geary's website. We went into Mark Zamansky's website. We went into different websites and we said, well, what do these websites look like? There's all these, Poodle Press and all these. We said, so what does Poodle Press have for a website? What does Kevin Geary do for a website? What does Mark Zamansky do for a website? What does Adam Prisler do for a website? And so we did kind of this review of all these websites in a live. You can see that, in our YouTube channel. And I came away from that saying Mañana No Mas needs a facelift. So what was the recipe that we saw that other people used? It was very clean and clear navigation menu at the top, some kind of call to action, typically at the top right, and then some kind of hero image. That hero image generally had a picture of the developer, a picture of the personality behind the business. So if you go to Kevin Geary's, any of his websites, you're going to see a silhouette picture of Kevin Geary. If you go to Poodle Press, you're going to see Jamie. If you go to Mark Zamansky with, I think he has Fine Tech or techhelp.com, you're going to see a picture of Mark. So I said, okay, we need to put a picture of Kurt up here. So we got a picture of Kurt, and I overlaid the future of business. Our tagline is getting shit done yesterday. So our tagline's right there. And then we've got a couple of calls to action right in our hero area. We come down further. We go into some gentle text. It's not heavy, right? It's not very heavy at all. People want to know more. They can go to the About Us page. They can go to our YouTube channel. They can go to our Facebook page, and they can see, hey, what do they post about? What do they talk about? What do they do? How do they drive success? And so if a customer is really that interested in doing the research, we have channels for that. But I do not believe that channel is your homepage. So the homepage just says, what do we do? We take a business first approach. Here is our methodologies and how we do that. Professionals in creating a new business opportunity. So now we have text and video. This actually isn't a video. This is just a picture, just a screenshot. And then we have the future is now. This shows a little piece of AI, some of the things that we do. And then, of course, we broke out the accordion thing just for a little more design and interactivity. All right. I really like how we were able to incorporate a little more color, just a little different color than normal for Mañana No Mas. For 15 years, Mañana No Mas has been largely a really light gray color, kind of like that's a darker gray, but usually it's a lighter gray and then the black and red. Okay. So I wanted to incorporate just a little more color just for some pop. And we did kind of these gradient buttons that are interactive when you hover over them. Okay. So we got that. We got a little more color here for global access development and real support. We did add a real support channel to Mañana No Mas as well. So for our customers, when they are using Mañana No Mas as an agency, they have this support portal here. Notice I'm signed in, so it's telling me, hey, you're not a customer. But when customers go here, there's actually a form for them to fill in, and it comes direct through the website, and it tracks all the support tickets directly in the website. And then, of course, some of the services that we offer. Now, let's get into why I want to apologize to Bricks. This whole thing is built in Bricks. And so if we edit with Bricks, I'm going to show you directly in Bricks why I was so impressed with how this came together. So the way that Bricks works is very similar to Elementor or some of the other page builders that you know, because you have all of your elements over here on the left-hand side. And there's basic and general, and then media things, WordPress specific. So like if you used Elementor before, you're like, well, this looks very familiar, right? And then I got things for single posts. I've got different filters, and I have some extras that I have activated as well. You see, there's a lot of things here. And a lot of these I haven't even used or sampled yet, just to be honest with you. There's a couple of things I'm thinking about putting in Image hotspots is one. I like the idea that someone could go to a certain part of a picture, click on it, and go somewhere. That's popular if you have like a map. Like you would have let's say you have a process map. You say step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. You could hotspot those in the picture so that people could mouse over and go step 1, I'll take that. Step 2, step 3. And so that's kind of the use case there. I haven't built that yet. I have that um, in my proposals that I send out through Mañana No Mas. We have a process map that works like that. And I did something similar in the Power Sport Academy, but I haven't done it on the Mañana No Mas website yet. And I haven't done it with bricks yet, just to be very clear. But look at this. Desktop's right up here, right? This is what's going to look like on a tablet. This is what it's going to look like landscape mobile, right? And this is what it's going to look like portrait mobile. So how cool is this right there? I can design mobile first if I want and make sure it still works on the laptop. So super impressed with kind of the layout, how that works. And where I was getting lost before was I would click into a box to edit it and I would get this weird like yellow highlighter pop-up thing. That's not happening now, right? So somewhere between 6 months ago and somewhere between like that and last month, this, at least for me, was remedied. And now I can go right here and I can say, okay, the future of business. So here's where that is, right? And if I click on style, I can say, okay, what if I want to, this is really cool. This to me is more intuitive than what you see like in Elementor or Divi, something like that. So let's say I want to add some padding between here and getting it done yesterday. These are two separate things, right? Getting it done yesterday is a heading and this is a title. So if I click here to padding and I just say 15, you see that drops down. If I were to go crazy and say make it 55, you're going to see that it's creating that space, right? Now I didn't have any space there, right? I had it at 0 and it was a little bit crowded. So if I put that back to 15, well, not 0, 15, I just want to put 15 in there. So if I put 15 in there, that's going to give me just a little bit of, so you see, I've got more control over the absolute look and placement of where things are in the site. Now, if I want to save that, I go right over here, I click save. And when it's done saving, I'm going to get a little message here that says amazing. And it's got different things that pop up when it says amazing like that. Now, you know, when you're working in the block editor and you have, you know, kind of that structure menu, that hamburger blowout, right? That's right here. So here is the whole structure of my page. And if I wanted to like go to the services thing, I can just click on that. It takes me right down to it. And I can edit directly in this area. And I have absolute control over where each of these elements are, the fonts, the size, the weight, the everything. And I'm just going to be honest with you. This worked really, really well for me. Now, I don't know if it's because I took the time to, let me see if I can collapse that. Yeah, so that collapses and closes. It was it X-ray, X-ray, X-ray. Yep. So this shows me all of the blocks, right? History and revisions I can see. Structure I can open and close. You'll notice the benefit of opening and closing that is, of course, to widen your screen view. So this is condensed and this is widened, right? Let's turn off the X-ray. So now I can kind of more preview, almost like a what you see is what you get experience. I don't want to say what you see is what you get, like, because there's still a little bit of a difference between what's on the edit screen and what I see in a preview. But I can edit it, go back to edit in WordPress. I can view it on the front end, or I can see it as a preview mode. So do I want to view on the front end, or do I want to do preview mode? Whenever you make any changes, you click save, and then you get the message that says congratulations. And if I click over here, I can view on the front end, right over on the top left. Or if I click over here, I can view on the front end that way. Folks, this whole experience for me has worked out really, really well. I'm going to go back to view on the front end. And, you know, I had like some issues. I'll just be honest with you. When I first started, I was like, let's go to posts. When I first opened up my post page, I wasn't happy with the way the post page actually looked. And so I had to play with it. I had to say, okay, you know, how am I going to build a template for the post page that makes sense? How am I going to put my archive of posts in here and have the images be what I want, the headings be what I want, the excerpts be what I want. And I finally came up with a combination of settings that I liked. And of course, I redid the hero page and changed the way that the heading was exposed. If I go into my course list, I made this template as well, and then put this in place. And this one here, nobody sees that but me. That's for me and my internal agency employees. So we use that, right? But the ones with the pictures is the way that the public sees it. And then membership list, we've got a series of memberships available. You'll notice that I have some memberships that are publicly displayed. So if you're someone that's coming to my website, you'll see almost all of these, but there's a couple that you won't see in the membership list for you. That's because I have some private memberships that go out for certain organizations, right? And then I was able to keep my Instagram, my YouTube, and my Facebook feeds. For instance, if we go to the YouTube feed, these are, my most recent YouTubes in the YouTube channel that come right to the website. And so, again, this whole screen share concept is like a formal apology. The formal apology is Bricks not only works, it works really well. It took me a little bit of time to dial in and to feel comfortable in that space, but every new tool does. Every new tool does. Anyone that tells you that this is instantaneous and super easy is lying or getting paid to say so. No matter what platform you choose, you're going to have to take some time to acclimate yourself to it. Now, as an agency owner, I have to be acclimated to Divi, Beaver Builder, Elementor, Bricks, and the block editor. The average person, the average do-it-yourselfer is going to pick, one as a favorite and stick with that. If you're just getting started, if you're just brand new at WordPress and you're like, I just want to make a website, the block editor works. The block editor is great. Comes standard with WordPress. If you use a theme like the Cadence theme and you add Cadence blocks, which is a free add-on to Cadence, you can actually add Cadence blocks to any theme. But if you have Cadence and Cadence blocks, there's not a lot that you can't do for yourself in the block editor. The page builder experience, to me, is more for the intermediate user or expert user that really wants more control over the specific padding and spacing of certain elements and some of the extra tools that you'll get, like automated sliders and things like that, and the control that you have over those. And so, when I'm doing work for higher level clients, they have a certain expectation. They'll say, I show them the page and they go, well, that's okay, but I wish this spun around on a 45-degree axis or something, right? Like something's going to happen. They're going to say something. And in most respects, you go from a web perspective, you go, how did you just make that up? Are you just looking for stuff to be critical about? But the other side of the coin is they are the client. They're asking for things that you can bill them for. And if you have the tools to make it, why not make it? Unless it's, really counterproductive for business. And so, again, I can't say this enough. If I said something disparaging 6 months ago about a mainstream product like Bricks, I want to make sure that when that's remedied or when I come around, right? Let's be more blunt about it. When I can come around and see the advantages of it, I feel obligated to jump on these forums. I feel obligated to jump. This is going out to Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube right now. And for those of you that have comments, I see there's some people in here watching live. If you want to jump in, tell me who you are, where you're from. Let me know what your favorite page builder is in WordPress or what you use. That's great. I will tell you, with more and more time and more experience, I think Bricks has the potential to become a go-to tool for the Mañana No Mas agency. It's not something. See, now you got to be more clear about use case, because this comes up too. If you build a website for a client, you have to know the use case. Does this client really anticipate going into the website, making changes, modifying and maintaining their own content? If they do, I'm going to try and keep them in the block editor and keep it simple for them. If they, whoops, folks, I got a call and I got to come back to you at another time. I'll let you guys go. Have an awesome day.